There is a quiet, unsettling sense that your life is moving in circles, even if you can't quite put your finger on why. You wake up, check your notifications, and go through the motions of your workday. You repeat the same sequence until it's time to sleep, only to do it all again tomorrow. When the frustration of being stuck finally bubbles up, you soothe it by telling yourself that you're trying. You point to your to-do list as evidence of effort. And exhaustion is not the same thing as progress. You can spend 10 hours a day answering emails and managing minor crises without moving an inch closer to the life you actually want. Constant activity creates a high-definition illusion of movement. It's only when you stop to look at the landscape that you realize you haven't actually left the starting line. Beneath the busyness, you have a nagging intuition that your current daily structure is incapable of producing the results you're after. Most people look for an external villain to explain this. They blame a lack of capital, bad timing, or the fact that they haven't been discovered by the right person yet. These external obstacles are often just convenient stories we tell ourselves. They protect us from having to admit that the problem isn't the world around us. It's the way we've programmed our own days. The core issue is that you aren't deciding how your life unfolds. You're simply reacting to whatever happens next. You've replaced design with a default system of drifting. This drift follows a predictable cycle that keeps people trapped in the same tax bracket and the same habits for decades. It begins when you feel a legitimate need for rest. But because you have no plan for that downtime, your brain takes the path of least resistance, mindless, high-stimulation distraction. Once the distraction wears off, you're hit with a wave of guilt. You realize you've wasted your time, and your confidence in your own ability to change takes another hit. To stop the pain of that guilt, you make one specific promise: I'll get serious starting tomorrow. That promise to do better tomorrow provides the emotional relief you need to stop trying today. It acts as the mechanical trigger that resets the entire trap. We all know the person who has been starting their new life every Monday for the last 5 years. They make 365 promises a year, yet 12 months later, there is zero measurable change in their health, finances, or mindset. This happens because the drift loop is completely frictionless. It doesn't feel like a catastrophe while it's happening. It just feels like another Tuesday. Permanent stagnation is invisible when it's wrapped in the comfort of a routine. You can lose an entire decade simply because your daily cycle was too easy to follow. If intentions were enough to change a life, everyone would be successful. The fact that most people fail despite wanting it proves that motivation is a faulty tool. When you try to change your life by changing your intentions, you are betting against your own biology. You are hoping that future you will have more willpower than the version of you that is tired right now. Since willpower is finite and motivation fluctuates with your mood, you need a framework that doesn't rely on how you feel. You need a system that functions even when you are at your weakest. This is the difference between an amateur and a professional. An amateur waits for the right feeling to strike. A professional follows a set of structural rules that make the work inevitable. Breaking the loop requires you to stop making emotional deals with yourself and start building the architecture that forces you into the right actions. Your mind is currently programmed to defend your current habits. It will treat any attempt at change as a threat to your comfort. A system bypasses this internal resistance by making the right choice the easiest one. It involves physical constraints, like removing distractions from your environment, so that you don't have to decide to be productive. You can continue to drift and hope that one day your luck changes, or you can start designing the systems that make success a mathematical certainty. Momentum doesn't come from a surge of inspiration. It comes from the mechanical constraints you place on your own life to force yourself forward.